Welcome back, focused learners. Today we are diving into a really fascinating explainer. We're going to take some incredibly profound ideas and lay them out clearly, piece by piece. We are looking at a brilliant piece of writing by Oluyomi Ola-David. We're going to unpack her poetic concepts and see exactly how her musings challenge traditional economic theory. Seriously, if you're into that intersection of economics, humanity, and our deeper personal purpose, you are absolutely going to love how she structures her thoughts. Let's just get right into it.
I remember a good, I shall buy it. I remember a product, I shall sell it. Let those words just sit for a second. This is actually how her poem, which is titled Musings the Invisible Mind, kicks off. It sounds kind of like a basic ledger, right? It's just the fundamental building blocks of trade and commerce that we deal with every single day. But this simple, almost rigid rhythm is a totally deliberate setup for something much, much deeper. Before we really get into the text, though, we need to understand exactly who wrote these words and why her perspective matters so much.
Section 1. Meet Oluyomi Ola-David. Let's look at the author herself.
To really grasp the worldview she constructs in her writing, we have to look at her overarching mission. She isn't just writing poetry in a vacuum. She is a thinker whose ultimate goal is to generate solutions, influence policy and strategy, and, perhaps most importantly for us today, provide absolute clarity. Her work spans everything from technical insights and comprehensive policy briefs to deep contemplations like the one we're unpacking right now. By bringing analytical rigor and artistic expression together, she offers this incredibly multifaceted perspective on some really complex societal issues.
And her background brilliantly illustrates where her priorities lie. According to her own profile, she is Nigerian, and she makes it a very distinct point to say, literally, I love people. She is deeply concerned about global development and transformative change across communities. On top of that, her worldview is fundamentally driven by her faith. She states that her Father God owns and rules the universe, describing him as the wheel within her wheels. So she's driven by this incredible love for humanity and a really profound spiritual conviction. This unique blend of global awareness and personal faith sets the perfect stage for her philosophy on human interaction.
Section 2. The Invisible Hand.
Okay, so to understand why her concept of the invisible mind is so powerful, we first have to look at the classic economic theory she is pushing back against. The invisible hand is a foundational economic concept introduced centuries ago by Adam Smith. The basic idea is that competition and self-interest act as this invisible force that regulates the free market. Think about it. Profit-seeking producers will naturally make more, competition keeps quality high, and competition keeps prices low. The core assumption here is that when individuals act out of pure self-interest, the needs of society are automatically met, completely without government involvement. It's a massive, complex system driven entirely by market forces and personal gain, basically assuming that our innate selfishness ultimately benefits the greater good.
But when you look at the source material's metadata tags, there is a stark contrast to those market forces. On one side, representing traditional economics, we have tags like the invisible hand, trade-off, choices, and preferences. You know, that cold, calculated environment of supply and demand. But on the flip side, we see the deeply personal, altruistic concept she associates with the invisible mind. She uses words drawn directly from her poem, like nurture and save. She is intentionally taking the cold calculus of market forces and replacing it with human empathy and conscious, caring action.
Section 3. The Economic Mind.
Let's see how this framework builds throughout her actual poem. We start with the economic mind. She started with buying a good and selling a product, but immediately she shifts the narrative. She writes, I remember a history, I shall learn it. I remember a story, I shall tell it. Notice how the musings move away from mere commerce. She's acknowledging that we trade in way more than just goods and physical products. We trade in knowledge, in culture, and in shared human experiences. She is effectively expanding the definition of what is valuable in our society, reminding us that intellect and history are currencies in their own right.
Section 4. The Nurturing Mind. Notice how beautifully she transitions us from intellect into a space of deep care and creation. She says, I remember a nature, I shall nurture it. I remember a song, I shall sing it. This is just beautiful. She is highlighting our innate responsibility to care for the world around us and to actively express its beauty. In an economy driven strictly by the invisible hand, nature might just be seen as a resource to be exploited or harvested for maximum profit. But through her invisible mind, nature is something to be lovingly nurtured and preserved for its own inherent worth.
And yet,
Even with all this focus on beauty and nature, she remains incredibly grounded. I remember a route, I shall take it. I remember a tool, I shall use it. These lines represent deliberate human agency. She's making conscious, practical choices in her journey. It's not just abstract, flowery poetry. It's a tangible framework for how she operates in the real world, utilizing the tools and routes available to her to generate those impactful solutions she is so deeply passionate about.
Section 5. The altruistic mind.
This right here is the crucial turning point where her philosophy entirely transcends personal economic benefit. She writes, I remember a life, I shall ask it. I remember a wish, I shall grant it. We see a complete shift toward profound altruism here. Think back to the invisible hand for a second, where the needs of society are supposedly met almost accidentally, just as a byproduct of everyone trying to get rich. Her concept of the invisible mind sharply contrasts with that passive assumption. She isn't waiting around for market forces to eventually trickle down and grant a wish. She is stepping up with intention to grant it herself. It's active, it's deliberate, and it's compassionate.
I remember a will, I shall do it. I remember a hand, I shall hold it. Honestly, this is perhaps the most direct, poetic counter to Adam Smith's economic theory in the entire piece. The invisible hand of the market is cold. It's unseen, detached, and inherently transactional. But her hand, it's physical, it's deeply present, and she is actively choosing to hold yours. It perfectly symbolizes the direct, compassionate human connection she champions above all else.
Section 6. Losing the Self.
As we reach the conclusion of her musings, we enter the climax of the poem. She moves towards ultimate transcendence and a kind of spiritual surrender that closely mirrors her faith. She says, I remember a mind, I shall keep it. I remember a club, I shall leave it. What a fascinating pairing. She makes a deliberate, confident choice to maintain her own mental integrity, keeping her mind, while willingly detaching from exclusive, perhaps self-serving groups or clubs. She's flat out refusing to be boxed in by tribalism, elite self-interest, or echo chambers that distract from her greater purpose of serving humanity.
And it culminates in this final striking juxtaposition. Earlier in the poem, she says, a people, I shall save it. And then she ends with the powerful realization, I remember a self, I shall lose it. For her, true fulfillment doesn't come from the profit-seeking maximization of the invisible hand. It comes from completely willingly transcending self-interest for the sake of others. To truly save a people, you must be willing to let go of yourself. Oluyomi Ola David takes us on an absolutely stunning journey from buying and selling through learning and nurturing all the way to ultimate altruism and self-sacrifice. She offers us a powerful lens through which to view our own actions and motivations. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. How does your own invisible mind guide your daily choices compared to your self-interest? When you navigate the busy marketplace of your own life, which hand is truly guiding you? Thank you so much for learning with us today, and keep asking those big questions.